Even better. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, 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 and welcome to
Oh,
our
yeah.
another edition of Being Without Hiding.
Yes. And you know what? This particular one, Facebook reminded me we had an anniversary today, a 7-year friend anniversary.
Oh, us?
Yeah. How does
Oh
it get
my
even better
God!
than that?
How that's it?
Yeah. 7th
Wow!
anniversary.
Happy anniversary!
Oh, it just makes me laugh.
It does. It's kind of like reminds me of like it pulls up some stuff and you see it, and suddenly it's like, oh my God, that's how long it's been.
Well, I
And
remember very clearly when I first met you, as I remember being shocked. I was so surprised because I'd offered to run to run your bars when we were in Costa Rica at a facilitator class together in a place fondly known as Smurf Village. There
yeah,
was
in the
there was
middle of
nothing hot
August,
or tropical about it.
yeah, in the middle of the August, I was freezing because I didn't bring any sweaters.
And it was cold. It was actually cold. It was really
Yeah,
funny.
it was. It
But I
was.
remember I offered to run your bars, and you are, for anyone who's seeing this and has no clue what we're talking about, we're both Helen and I are access consciousness facilitators. And one of the classes that's most amazing in access is called the bars. And one of the things that they'll say very clearly is don't run someone's bars, these 32 points on the head when somebody's wearing a watch.
Yep.
And this is where I learned the gift of follow your knowing. What do you know? So Helen said, oh, I don't take my watch off. When I said, please take off your watch, I'm about to run your bars. No, my watch would like to contribute. And I was in like, huh? Do that? But that's not in the instructions.
Exactly, because we're so entrained when we have a manual and that manual tells us to do something, we follow that. In access, it's not about following, it's about following your knowing. It's about
Can you
asking the
say that
question.
again? I'm sorry. I just, in case we have
Follow
other stuff
your
going on,
knowing.
our knowing. I
And
like
asking
that.
questions. It's about being the question. And today we're talking about, I think, resisting or receiving, right?
We're not talking about reading, writing, arithmetic. We're talking about receiving versus resisting or
Yeah.
rejecting or
It's kind of a couple of
or
R's.
anything else. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of R's in there that are generally.
Yeah. But you know what? Those two R's either break our lives, destroy our lives, or actually start creating it.
Yeah.
Because it's seriously like if you look at that, if you resist to something that will contribute to your life, you actually not receiving, so you're cutting off so much energy that could contribute to you, and that starts destroying your life, starts diminishing it.
Yep.
Where when you actually receive anything, and like you said, even with that watch, there's a funny story. Do you want to tell it, or do you want me to tell it?
You tell it. I was shocked. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's about magic. And some people might feel like, oh, magic. No, 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 no. We are in physical world with physical reality. But that's another resistance.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's really, really. Thank you for saying that. I just put the so people know that we're talking about access consciousness. But yeah, there's a lot of resistance in definition, and magic doesn't fit into a box of definitions. And your
No,
watch sure as hell didn't follow the rules of this
it's
is what
right
they.
here. It loves to
That's
contribute to
phenomenal.
everything.
So tell
It's
us
so
about the
fun.
magic, Helen.
I mean, that watch is a lot of times more conscious than some people, I'll tell you that, including me. Which sometimes,
Only when you're doing that to yourself.
exactly, when I'm not receiving, when I'm resisting, then I'm not aware. And then sometimes watch reminds me of that.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I desired expensive watch. And at that time, that was before Access and way before Access. Well, probably about 6 months before Access. And I was asking because I always did creative visualization. So I knew how to ask, but somehow I kind of like had that idea of what I need to ask. That's in the past. So I asked for expensive watch. Within a couple of days, the internet shows me the way. I see the watch that's on sale, half off. It was like I think $1,300 or $1,500 watch. That was half off, and I'm
Ah,
like,
I like that.
I like that, of course. And I'm like, but it's still too expensive. That watch wanted to come, so a week later, I get another notification. It's another 30% off, so it's now 400. So I'm like, I put it in a cart. You know how you kind of like can put it in a cart, and I walked away because 400 was still expensive at that time. I wasn't working, so there was a lot of things going on. And I'm like, no, $400, it's too much of a luxury to buy. I get an email 3 days later. That watch was insistent. I'm coming into your life, no matter what.
Listen, lady, you gotta listen to this.
Yeah, get me now. And the email says, well, we'll give you another 40% off and the free shipping. And I'm like, okay. So I
If
got,
you insist.
if you insist, I'll get that watch. So the watch comes in the mail, and I love it. It's beautiful. It has little diamonds, it has sapphires, and all kinds of things. So I'm starting to wear it, and I get into Access, my first bars class. Didn't think about it, didn't take my watch off. Was everything fine? I'm fine. Next session, somebody says, oh, you need to take the watch off. And I'm like, okay, took it off. Suddenly, 20 minutes into the session, the watch stops. And I'm like, what? Put it on, not to lose it, because I didn't want to lose it. I'm like, okay, it's probably the battery. Fine. About 5 minutes later, the watch started working again. And I'm like, oh, maybe I just messed up with dials or something with pins. Take my watch off during the next bar session. 20 minutes, exactly 20 minutes. It was interesting. Not sure what about the 20 minutes. But in 20 minutes, it stops. It's not working. And I'm like, wait a second, what's going on? So I put back on, it works. And that's been going on for about
So
three
there
months.
wasn't much of a question, huh, in your world.
No, there was no question. It was like, oh, it's the battery. Maybe it was an awareness. I'm not saying that, but I brought it to the jeweler and I'm like, it works when it's on my arm, but it stops when I take it off. So he looks at me like I'm crazy because watches don't do that. But at some point, I thought maybe it's not a battery operated, maybe it's my hand, which is like some expensive watches are. And that's what I asked him. He's like, no, that's a battery operated watch. And I'm like, okay. He goes in, tells me battery is dead, changes the battery, it works. So that's when I realized that the watch desired to contribute.
Takes
And
a while, huh, to begin to perceive
yeah,
what would like to contribute.
I actually realized that when it would stop when I take it off. So I would put it on. And what's interesting, talking about consciousness and receiving, it didn't come off my wrist for years, except for change of battery, maybe some massages. But I was going to Israel to facilitate classes, not the first time, but the second time. And there was a thought in my mind to go to that sea. And suddenly my watch said, I'm not coming to Israel.
Like, I don't want to go into the Dead Sea. Thanks.
No,
A little too much.
it's a little too much. And you'll break me if you go there. And I didn't realize that at the time, but that was the message. At that time, it was there is an irritation under the watch, which never happened before or after. There was itching, some redness, and I'm like, I took it off. I had to take it off. And I couldn't put it on. Every time I put it on, there is irritation. I'm like, okay, do you want to stay home? The watch is like, yeah, I'd like to stay home. Took it off, left it for the whole 10 days, missed it tremendously. It missed me. And then when I ended up at the Dead Sea, I realized that's what it was telling me. When I came home, it's back on my wrist, no problem. So next time when I went to Israel, I'm like, was it the Dead Sea? It's like, yep. Of course I
Don't
took
worry,
it
I
off.
won't take you there
I
this
want to
time.
take you inside the lake. I mean, inside the sea.
Well, it's kind of like a glorified lake, I suppose. It's called the
Yeah,
Dead Sea, but it is like that.
very
That's funny.
salty
But look
lake.
at how, I mean, people would say it's just a watch,
Yeah,
or it's just a pair of shoes, or it's just a purse, or it's just a whatever. We judge things by face value so much, or by this concept of it's just that thing,
hmm
that we diminish the gift that it can be in our life if we're just
yeah,
willing to entertain receiving from it.
and it's also resistance to receive because we have an idea, or a lot of us, including me, have an idea that the receiving can be only from a person. It has to be in only one way. And what's interesting, we can or cannot receive from certain people
Yeah,
because it's
that's a
not even the
really
same.
big thing. Not just the, how we receive, but also from whom. And that's
Exactly.
huge. And actually, I'm gonna out us a bit. We just had, because I mean, this is being you without hiding. I don't know
hmm
if you're hearing an echo, but I'm hearing an echo of.
I'm hearing a little bit of an echo.
Do you have it like Facebook open anywhere or anything like that,
Let
or
me
something
see.
else?
I'll there is a Facebook, so I'm closing it.
Or just mute it, maybe. I don't know. Um,
No, now
no.
like nothing.
Okay. Now
So
I hear nothing other than us, so that's
perfect.
cool.
hmm
Although that would be cool to receive from as well. I was just wondering about the other
Yeah,
voices.
and how much are we refusing to receive from things that are not comfortable, or from pain, or from something that might not be what we decided receiving has to look like?
Yeah. So I'm gonna out us. We just facilitate a fucking kick-ass foundation class together. We had a phenomenal several days together with
Oh God.
participants that were willing to step up and really look at how they're functioning in the world. And receiving versus resisting is one of the big topics that came up. And especially when it came to like interpersonal relationships. And
hmm
it's fascinating to me. It's such a gift to see. I'm not going to specifically bring up what's going on, specifically, but I will say that when we're willing to look beyond the how I can receive from certain people, or that these people don't have my back, therefore I cannot receive from them. When we let go of the stories of the past, when we let go of, and by stories of the past, I mean every single interaction we may have ever had with that person in this lifetime, or who knows, maybe in other lifetimes as well. But the thing is, anything that colors the way we interact with people.
Anything that actually it's not even the way we interact. It might not be anything to do with the person themselves. It could be even they look like somebody that we interacted in the past.
Yeah, that's true.
So
And then that
so-
brings up the history, the story, the expectations of this had happened before, therefore it's probably going to happen again. And then we can't see the beauty and the tenderness and the presence of the person who's in front of us. And so what was going on in with a couple of different experiences that we were seeing,
Mhm.
we got to see like literally like flipping a relationship on its head by just being willing to be present with a person. And this went on for me, and this went on
Mhm.
for at least a couple of other people in the class as well, just by, I don't have to keep doing the same thing that I've been doing before. What if all of life really can come to us with ease, joy, and glory? If all
Also,
of life,
all of life.
all, then there's no filter.
Yeah. And when we stop resisting, it's a pretty much law of physics. When you think about resistance and reaction, versus when you stop resisting, you drop that big ball that usually hits. Reaction equals opposite reaction. And it's like pull and push. So if you let go of that, let go of both ends, let go of your resisting and reacting and aligning and agreeing with everything, and stop separating yourself and rejecting. Because a lot of times when we refuse to receive, it's actually rejecting ourselves.
Yeah, I was looking at that with one of the words that was coming up in the foundation class. It was all about spurning, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like total rejection of someone or something. And how often do we do that with us?
Yeah, exactly. We create the comfortable distances. We separate. We don't want to see our gifts. And it's a lot of times it's easier to see the wrongness than actually the gift we are.
Yes, because the gift that we are is something that's so inconceivable for us in terms,
Mhm.
or inconceivable for us, or possibly inconceivable for others, because it doesn't match the dynamic of the way that they have judged that we have to show up or be. Anytime we expand ourselves beyond that, anytime we stretch our wings, anytime we, just choose more than other people might have seen us choose before, or seen us be comfortable with, there's suddenly more available.
Yeah. What if
I think
it's
it's me
as
making that noise. I don't know what it is, but wow, whatever that is.
well? Do you have a microphone?
No, it's just it's this particular mic, and it worked great, but I only hear that when I speak, not when you speak.
Yeah.
So I've been like a little distracted squirrel. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe I have to hear myself a little more and receive it, not resist it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of times that how you would call it the mirror image, but this is a mirror sound.
Yeah,
A lot of times when we are resisting something, it shows up in our lives exactly to show where we resist and react. So, what if we stopped resisting? I'm just wondering, how much more fun can we have if we stopped resisting, if we stopped reacting and started receiving everything, including something that's good, something is bad, something is right, something is right, wrong. What if nothing is right and wrong, good and bad? What if it's just what is?
yeah. It's really interesting because when, to me, receiving is almost this melting with
Mm-hmm.
whatever's incoming. It's creating an opening for just hugeness to be able to come in, whatever it is. It's like water
Mm-hmm.
in a way. My son was fixing up his aquarium yesterday, and he was showing me, look, water will follow the path of least effort. and it will flow in the with the most ease possible. You could block it with this, you could put a sponge here, you could put a biofilter over there, whatever. Water's going to flow, and look for the easiest way. Where is it that human beings have created themselves, as, oh no, I'm not going to, take a note.
Yes.
Like water is choosing ease. I'm going to make it the hardest, most complicated, most rigidified, structurified, oh my God, I have to get this shit right kind of way.
But then it's kind of like we decided that a lot of times, a lot of people decided that if they don't struggle, then it proves maybe it when they struggle and receive something, it proves how determined they were
Yeah.
with the desire to achieve it. And if it was easier, there is no achievement in that. So how many people still believe in that instead of just receive? Universe is desiring to gift us. All we need to do is just open up to receiving, to have the awareness of what is possible.
I love that, because it's one of the things that we really tune up when we play with the symphony tasters or symphony
Mhm.
sessions, etc. We invite everything to play and to contribute. And that's the thing, walking through the world as a symphony is this play of everything, all the sounds, all the notes, and everything creates something greater together, versus here I am all alone in my form, all alone.
Form, structure, significance, and importance.
Right. And I don't recognize that beneath all of that, there's the softness, the meltiness, the beauty, the invitation, the being that invites everything to melt and to be and to play and to create and to wonder and to expand.
Yeah,
And there's no fight in any of that.
no. And it's actually, we can create much more when we don't resist. We can create anything and everything with such an ease if that's what we desire, if we're congruent with our desire. It's it's when we resist and react from some subconscious, unconscious point of view that stops us. That's when the obstacle starts appearing. Because we love to create the obstacles because that tells us that we cannot have the abundance, we cannot have the money we desire because, and that's all
Ooh,
those, yeah, that's all that causal reality where cause and effect. If you do this, you do that, you receive that. If you don't do this, then you don't receive that. And so on and so forth. That cause and effect always, always, always the underlying current of everything that's not working. Because
yeah.
then we have to explain and justify why it's not working. So there has to be a reason and justification behind all of that.
Yeah. And usually it's something about having to fix or correct, or that there's something, terribly, quote unquote, wrong with us, when that's the
Mhm.
furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah, it's about just being. When we are being, and that's actually why we open that group, being you without hiding. When we realize that we are being, that we are being you, we are being us, and stop hiding, everything becomes ease.
Yeah, I noticed that. So we have a comment in, I'm just going to address that Lorelai was writing in Spanish, but I'll translate for you, that she's still resisting the form and the weight of her body, and she's trying not to, keyword trying. Yoda also says, do or do not. There is no try. But she's trying to not judge herself, but she's still resisting receiving her as she is right now.
Yeah.
Um,
And how much, Lorly, how much are you resisting the judgments of your body?
yeah,
Because it doesn't matter what we're resisting, but it's like, yeah, you want to stop judging. But if you resist the judgment or align and agree with judgment, judgment will stay no matter what it is.
which
It's,
is really cool. It's not about aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting. That word that you said was allow. And that is just to let it be, kind of like, wasn't that a Beatles? That was a Beatles song, right? Let it be, let it be. Doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck there at all, but it means that you just get real enough with it. You just look at it. Okay, I have this judgment. I don't have to hide from it. I don't have to reject it. I don't have to react to it. I don't have to resist it. I don't have to resist me. I can just look at it and go, wow, whoa, I've really been judging myself.
yeah.
Okay.
And oh, I got the judgment. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view. Instead of going, because I know
So
I've done this a lot of times.
flagellation for the
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah. Instead of like going, oh, I'm judging myself again. Stop, stop, stop. See how heavy that is?
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I'm judging me. Cool. Interesting judgment.
Yeah. It's a
And what do I do with
curiosity, it's whoa. Okay. So it's actually the wondering of, huh, okay, wow, here's another one.
it?
And not the judgment of, oh my God, I have to substitute this now with a positive thought. I have to change this. I have to work at it. I have to fix it because I am the thing that has to be fixed. Fuck it. What if we didn't have to fix anything and we could just be with who we be and allow, as you said, and
And just
when
be.
we're more in the allowing, yeah, and just being with it and not hiding. And that's
Yeah.
oh my God, there's the name of the group. Not hiding and not trying to pretend and not shutting anything out. Not la 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 la, hear no evil, see no evil, whatever
Yeah.
that is. But just see it. We're bigger than those judgments.
And also, whose judgment is that? Is it actually truly yours or everybody else around you that judging their bodies?
Yeah. Oh, good point. Good point. It's like,
I, yeah.
not like we got any aware people here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we are, and we did, remember the SpongeBob for the emotions and thoughts
Yes.
and feelings?
Yep.
Like another, I think it's actually another Facebook Live we did. You can probably look in the group or on YouTube channel. A lot of things that we think our judgment,
Yeah.
probably not. It probably just somebody else next to you judging their body and you just picking it up.
Yep.
Just
And Lorelai wrote my favorite name for it. It's like the lovely Russian Justin Ipov. um, it's just an interesting point of view. It's not bigger than us. But I love the crazy Russian Justin Ipov. When we see that, we can remember that we don't have to take it personally. It's another point of view that's coming through, and we don't have to hold on to it and punish ourselves for the weight of the world with it.
yeah,
It's
and you can actually download the Access Consciousness, how who does it belong to app,
yeah,
just to remind you who does that belong to. And then you can remember to say, interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view
yep,
together with who does that belong to.
yep, yep, yep. So that you could set up the reminder. I was looking for it on my phone. I know I have it, but I tucked into it some nicely organized folder. Oh, I think it's here.
Yeah,
So it's the
it's
little
that.
dandelion. Access Consciousness app, and it has what I love is that, like, you can set up reminders at specific intervals, or
Mhm.
you can do Dane's recommended settings. But the thing is, when you see that, this reminder comes up, it takes you out of the almost the daily grind, the day-to-day programming, the not being present, the moving on with stuff and just being on autopilot. And it pulls you in and goes, ding dong, hi, you there? Ding
Yeah,
dong, how you doing? And then it asks you a question. So who does this, whatever you're in at the moment, who does that belong to? And you can let it go. You don't have to suffer
no.
your awareness. You can recognize it and allow
You
it.
can just be with that. And again, just be without the resistance.
I
Cool.
know. And
Ooh,
thank
it's
you,
been half
Jose.
an
That's
hour
very,
now.
very sweet.
Yeah.
Jose
So,
was writing, thank you for the contribution. Thank you for sharing these tools. Thank you for being there. What else is possible? How does it get any better? And he's sending us a big
yeah.
hug.
So is it a good place to stop or yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we could speak for
Oh, we can
days
circle
about
for days.
receiving and resisting and reacting, because there's so many more nuances to be explored. But right now, I'm just so grateful for
So
being
great.
alive. I'm so grateful for you, my friend. Happy anniversary. I'm so
Thank you. And I'm
grateful.
so grateful for you, my friend. Happy
Thank you.
anniversary.
And
And we will see you guys soon
yeah, how does
somewhere
it get
in the
even
world.
better? And if there are any, well, actually, I think we have a couple of topics for our next go rounds. But if there's something that you guys would like to know more about, post it in the group, in the Being You
Oh,
Without Hiding Facebook group, and let us know. And if you'd like to share this or any of our previous videos that are there in the group, they're easily shareable from the group anywhere you'd like. And we'd love for more people to actually begin to celebrate being them as well and not have to be in hiding.
and we are co-facilitating Being You class in September, aren't we?
Yes, we are. I'm so excited.
Yeah, September 7th and 8th online. We're doing a full day, which is split into 2 days, so it's easier for you to sit and watch the screen with both of us and hopefully a lot of other people to see how can we change the world by being us.
Yeah, especially by receiving what is and not living as if we're in a put your dukes up, baby. We gotta fight it out. So much more fun can it be?
Yeah. See you later.
Thank you,
Mwah.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.